Anybody ever heard the name Earl Schaefer?
Yeah.
Think. 1948, Earl Schaefer came back from World War II, and he was a mess. Today of course, we have titles for everything today. It's PTSD or whatever. And, back in those days, they didn't have fancy names for it. They just knew they were in trouble, and they could not get over what had occurred, and which they took part in over in Germany and Japan as well. Well, Earl Schaefer came back, and he was a mess. He was a combat soldier in a tank battalion, and it was just crazy. They had the worst fights in the world over there against the Nazi Panzer tanks. And boy, I can only imagine how hellish those battles must have been. Those big iron machines blowing everything up from here to Kingdom Come. Anyway, he came back, and he lived in a little place called Springer Mountain in Georgia. So that is the official starting place of the Appalachian Trail. I don't know if you knew that or not, but Springer Mountain in Georgia is where it starts, and it runs all the way up to Katahdin Mountain. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Katahdin Mountain in Maine. The journey is 2,160 miles long. He was the first man ever to start and to finish the entire Appalachian Trail, Earl Schaefer. Actually, in the next 5 years following, he did it 2 more times. So before he died, and he finally found peace and rest, because at that time it was still very unspoiled. It was still you go through woods and you go up mountains and you have to cross rivers and through snows, and it's just, every climate imaginable. As you work your way through the Shenandoah and the Green Mountains and all the other mountains on the way up, to finally get to Katahdin Mountain in Maine, which is one of the highest points there, and you get up there. And they asked Earl, they said, "Why do you do it? You've done it now 3 times. You're not a young man anymore." And his answer was, "I do it for the sheer beauty of it. The burden, the toil, the strain, the struggle. It takes about 4.5 months each time to do it. But when I get to the top of Mount Katahdin, the sheer beauty of overlooking and you could see everything from up there. I think this is how God intended the earth to be. Away, not down there amongst the ugliness of mankind, but just the beauty of it." He was the first man to ever do it, Earl Schaefer. 5,000 people a year try to do this. They start it. 5,000 people on average a year. 1 in 10 are able to complete it. Most drop out long before they get to the end. That's a burden. That's a journey. That's a pilgrimage. That's Advent. As we also travel to Bethlehem, called by the angels to seek a Savior who is the light of life. Isaiah got that vision. In the last day, a great light shall shine, and all the nations of the earth shall stream and make pilgrimage to the high and holy mountain Zion, to hear again the teaching of God, and to see again the light of life, that he may walk amongst us, and we will beat our swords into plow hooks, and all our weapons of war into instruments of peace and production. And man's separation with God will end, and man's separation with men shall end. What a vision. What a vision. I think Earl says this is how God intended the world to be. At peace, at rest, in beauty, and his perfection, not our scarring. We're going to talk about this vision. The first vision of Messiah given in the Old Testament period, nearly 900 years, 1,000 years before Jesus would even come. First, of course, I want you to stand with me and sing in the